Hey guys, it's Thursday and we're looking at number and place value again, but this time we're investigating numbers less than zero. So we're going to be looking at terms like positive and negative numbers and learning how we can categorize numbers, whole numbers, into other types of groups. We've learned about square numbers, triangular numbers. Now it's learning about positive and negative numbers. All right, so in a moment we're going to watch the video that talks about what is less than zero. All right, let's have a look now.
There is a thermometer, bank statement, and a boy sitting by a swimming pool. In each image, there are numbers that are less than zero. Numbers that are less than zero are called negative numbers. They are the opposite of positive numbers. Negative numbers are whole numbers. They are not fractions. Negative numbers are written with a minus symbol placed on the left side of the number. This number is read as -2. Can you see the numbers less than zero on the thermometer? Here is 0, and here are the numbers less than 0. You can see that the temperature is -5 on this thermometer. This means that the temperature is 5 degrees below 0, which means it is pretty cold. Can you see the numbers less than 0 on the pool steps? Here is 0, and here are the numbers less than 0. What do you think these numbers mean? Does the 0 mean the pool is empty? No, it means that's where the level of the water comes to in the pool. The numbers less than 0 gives a measure of the depth of the water in the pool. Look at the bank statement. Can you have less than $0? Yes, you can if you spend more money than you have. This bank statement shows a negative amount of $3.75. How can you spend more money than you have? Well, that happens all the time when people buy items on their credit cards. This means the bank is lending them money until they can pay it off. So this person owes the bank $3.75. Can you think of other examples of where numbers less than 0 are used?
Okay, so we learned about how negative numbers are used in the real world. On a number line here, we can see the negative numbers are to the left of zero, and the term negative is used to describe numbers less than zero. Two examples of other areas in the real world that use negative numbers are when we talk about sea level and when we talk about a lift in a building. Pause for just a moment, jot something down there about your understanding of what sea level and how that works with negative numbers, and also how the lifts in a building can work with negative numbers. Pause and come back in a couple of minutes when you've jotted down your ideas. All right. This answer is going to be a bit more complicated than you would have written down, I'm certain, but it should develop your understanding a bit more. So when we're talking about sea level, if something is below sea level, it means it's below the top of where the ocean would be if it was able to cover the planet without any barriers. Now, there are certain places around the world where the sea actually has to be held back. Now, of course, we all know that sea level changes with the tides, and so the concept of sea level must be an average in there. But barriers are constructions such as dikes in the Netherlands, dams, even countries have dunes, sand dunes along the edges. But mountain ranges act as natural barriers. You only have to go down to, say, Sandgate, and you'll see walls that have been built so that it holds the water back at times from going onto the land. All right, so that's a bit of an understanding of sea level. And lifts in a building, well, that's a little bit easier because the elevators or the lifts can go up high into the building, above the ground, but with most buildings, there is below ground. Often it's used for parking. In this particular example, it talks about it being a basement, but they don't often use negative. They use like B1, B2, B3, basement 1, basement 2, basement 3, going down. I sometimes think it'd be easier if they did use negatives, Maybe maybe there's a reason they don't, I don't know. All right, let's move on. So now let's look at how we locate positive and negative numbers on a number line. Usually when we've talked about number lines, zero's been on the end, and then we always show positive numbers off to the right. But it's possible for zero to be put into the middle. So numbers that are bigger than zero are positive, and numbers that are smaller than zero are negative. We've got another short video now to have a look at, which talks about this. Notice the term integers. So after watching the video, I wonder if you can tell me what the word integer means. Let's have a look.
On a number line. Look at this number line. 0 has been placed in the middle of the line. We know the numbers to the right of 0 are the counting numbers. These are also called positive numbers. What about the numbers on the other side of 0? Did you notice that the numbers on either side of 0 are symmetrical? They are called negative numbers. The value of the numbers increase as you move to the right and decrease as you move to the left. The number line can also be written vertically. The numbers above 0 are the positive numbers, and the numbers below 0 are negative numbers. Numbers increase as they move up the number line and decrease as they move down the number line. The positive and negative numbers on a thermometer are also set out vertically. The positive numbers are above 0 and the negative numbers are below 0. Now it's your turn to use a number line to solve problems.
All right, let's have a look-see. Okay, so we're going to construct a number line, and we're actually going to make a fairly large number line, and you can do that by following the number of other steps that we've got here. So I want you to construct a vertical number line. My dog is right beside me here, harassing me. Hey, Manna, you're a big doggy, aren't you? She wants a pat, but I'm trying to record this lesson for you, so I'm going to have to persevere. Okay, we're going to construct a number line that is approximately 1 meter long. Now you can use a piece of string, or you can draw with chalk, or draw something on the ground. And then we're going to place the number cards from 1 to 10. Those number cards you actually have in your possession. They look like this. They're the number cards at the last page, and we actually did it last so that you could easily cut it up like that, and you're going to use them a couple of times, so keep them safe. All right, so I want you to put those number lines, just grab the positive number line or the positive cards, so that's not the negative ones, the positive ones, and put them on the number line in ascending order from smallest to largest. So pause the video and do that for me now. If you're not sure, have a look at the next section. That'll give you a bit more of a clue. So here's a diagram to show how to put those numbers out. Now you can even keep the video going and keep your worksheet beside you and listen to my instructions and fill it in as you go. So in that diagram, or on your number line that you've got there, you can see if it's 3 steps from 0 to 3, how many would it be from 0 to 7? And of course it would be 7. Stop it. 7 steps. Okay, so therefore, if you go on from 7 through to 10, how many more steps would that be? And of course the answer is 3 more. Now, we don't have a card that says 234, but of course, if you did, it would be way past 10. And if we place that on the number line, how many steps would it be from 0 to 234? Write down what you think. And I hope you said 234. So what direction are you moving on this number line? Are you moving up or are you moving down? Of course, you're moving up the number line. Now, the value of numbers increase as you move up a number line and they decrease as you move down. And that is an important concept that we're going to be dealing with as we learn about this one. All right, I want you to gather up your cards now. And I want you to reposition it so that the 0 is in the middle of the number line so that you've got room below that. Okay, and we'll have the bottom half of the number line empty. So pause the video while you do that. All right, the diagram or the picture there shows us what that could look like. So there's some questions there. Let's see whether we can answer them. Could we place numbers below 0? And how do you know? Well, you should be telling me, of course we can, Mr. Cran. There's room below 0 on the number line. We left room there. So yes, there are spaces for those numbers less than 0. So here's something to think about. If you move one space above 0, you'd reach 1. One space above 0, you'd reach 1. But what would you reach if you moved one space below 0? Jot down what you think. Did you say -1? All right, put -1 on the number line. Now, how many steps is it from 0 to -1? Well, it's one step, isn't it? Just the same, how many steps is it from 0 to 1? It's one step. So what you need to now tell me is how many steps is it from 1 to -1? How many steps would that take? And I think you'll realise the answer is 2. 2 steps to travel that distance. All right, so we're looking at positive and negative numbers, and we saw that they mirror each other either side of 0. But does that mean they've got equal value? Is -1 the same value as +1? I mean, the digits look the same, but are they equal in value? And the answer to that is no. Positive numbers are always larger than negative numbers. Would you rather have $2 or owe somebody $2? Who's got more money, the person with $2 or you if you owe somebody $2? And of course, having $2 is more. So the further you are to the right, the bigger the number. If it's a vertical number line, the higher up you go. The further up you go, the bigger the number is. It doesn't matter what the digit looks like. It simply matters the further to the right or the further up, the bigger the number. Therefore, 1 is larger than -1. Basically, anything that's positive is larger than anything that's negative. So let's look at these sets of numbers. I've written them in pairs and I want you to see if you can work out which number there is larger. So on this number line, 5 would be further along than 3. So what's larger, 5 or 3? Obviously, 5. I've got -5 and 3 though. And now we've learned a long way away, or for many years, that 5 is bigger than 3, but not when it comes to negative numbers. -5 is this way, 3 is this way, and I've said the further to the right, the bigger the number. 3 is larger. These two are both negative. -4 would be here, -3 is here. I'll say it again. The further to the right, the bigger the number. -3 is larger than -4. And again, I'll put it into this context. Would you rather owe somebody $4 or $3? And I bet you're telling me you don't want to owe them anything. Okay, but you can see that you're greater in debt here than here. This number is bigger than this number when we're talking about the value of numbers. 0, -10. What's larger? 0 is further to the right. 0 is larger. Even if it's a huge number like 121 and 3, if it's got that negative in front of it, the 3 is larger. $3, having $3 in your pocket is better than owing $121. 3 is larger. All right? The further to the right, the higher up on a vertical number line, the larger the number. And that is definitely an understanding of positive and negative numbers that you need to remember. All right, let's go back to our number line, and I would like you to put all of the negative numbers out. Well, no, all of the negative numbers up to -5, it says. So continue the number line so that you continue it through to -5. And let's see if we can answer these questions. So have your sheet with you and answer them as we go. So what is the number 4 spaces below 0? 1, 2, 3, 4. So if you haven't made your number line, pause the video, but then let's see if you can answer these questions. So what's a number line 4 spaces below 0? And it's -4, isn't it? Is this number more or less than 4? Now remember what we just talked about. The further we go in the positive direction, the bigger it is. So -4 is less than 4. What is the number 3 steps below 0? -3. Is this number more or less than 3? Well, just the same with the last question, it's less than 3. Anything that's positive has a greater value than anything that is negative. All right, so now place all the other numbers on the number line, all the way through to -10. Do that now and resume the video. All right, if the number of spaces between 0 and -1 is 1, how many spaces are there between 0 and -5? Write in your answer. And of course it is 5 steps. How many spaces between -6 and -9? Write in your answer. Did you say 3? I hope so. All right. Now how many spaces are there between -10 and -2? Jot down your answer. And hopefully you said 8. All right. So we're using our number line here to help us count and help us to work out the number of steps between positive and negative numbers. All right. So if I jump onto a number line like this, and I've got my negative numbers here and my positive numbers, -4, this one here, is 5 steps away from -1. 1, 2, 3, 4 take me to 0, and the 5th one takes me to 1. This means that 1 is larger than -4 by 5. 4 there and 1 more there. Yes, it is 5 larger. So I want you to count along your number line from -6 to 1 and tell me how many steps that was. All right, jot down your answer once you've worked it out. How many steps from -6 to 1? Did you say 7? I hope so. Therefore, this means that 1, which would be here on this number line, is how many greater or more than -6? Well, just like in our example up here, it would be 7. All right, let's have a look at the next one. What number is 6 greater than -2? Now, what I would do is start at -2 and count 6 steps on. Because it's greater, you're heading towards the right. So start at -2 and head to the right, or if you're doing it on your vertical number line, go up the number line, start at -2 and go up the number line. What is 6 greater than -2? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 will take you to 4. Is that what you got? I hope so. Now, remembering, when we have a negative number and a positive number, we've said something about the positive number each and every time. So which is greater, -8 or -9? Sorry, -9 or 8? Write down how you know. Which one and how you know. Pause the video and write down your answer and come back and check to see how your answer compares to mine. Let's have a look. 8 is greater than -9 because 8 is a positive number, and that's all you really need to know. As soon as it's positive, it's bigger than a negative. Done for today. Keep those cards because you're going to use them again. Make sure that you put them in a safe place for the next lesson. Okay, guys, thanks for that. We'll catch you next time. Cheers now.